What do
I
you mean?
I keep meaning. You know what happens? Every week we do all sorts of streams, we do all sorts of games, and and we have all these plans and all this stuff going on, and especially around this time of year, I tend to get really what's the phrase?
Busy.
Yeah, I get busy and things slip my mind, and I forget whether I still need to come up with like an intro song for the cast.
Oh shit,
every,
that's right.
every
I keep
week,
forgetting. You mentioned it like weeks and weeks ago,
every
and then I
week,
fucking
I
forgot.
hit the
Like
stream
it's just
button.
gone.
I hit the stream button every time, and I'm like, "Fuck, there should be
Yeah.
something here." Uh,
Every
every
time.
time. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Mitch's Mega Minute. The show that talks about all the dumb things that your narcissistic buddy Mitch likes to talk about. This week I'm joined with Amanda as always.
As always.
You are here every week.
Oh, my guy. I'm here pretty much every week unless there's like a fucking disaster going on. And it's like world ending, like, oh, hey, sorry, I can't make it. I just got an evac notice because you know, I'm about to be set on fire. So I think the Wi-Fi is gonna be pretty shitty, so I probably can't make it today.
God damn, your hell state, dude. Your hell state is like is super intense.
The
Um,
worst part is, Mitch, is that was an actual reason one time
that
when
was.
I was like, "Oh, can't make it because, um, I can't see the sky anymore."
This episode is going to be super fucking weeby. I might just gush about My Hero Academia for a bit. It happened, guys. It happened. I'm finally in. It took a long time. It took a long
Oh,
time. But after catching up with
it
Dr.
did, and
Stone,
I'm so curious. Once we get to that topic, I have so many fucking questions for you.
yeah, dude, I'm really excited to talk about it because I feel like in general, I just feel like when it comes to manga, it just takes me a second to like really get myself involved because I even anime, like I didn't watch Madoka Magica until 2011. Like I took my sweet time on that one. Um,
Oh.
so what's funny is that I actually owned a My Hero game on the Switch and like some other things. Despite not being like a super huge fan of it, just because I wanted to try it out and maybe sometimes they were on sale. So we will talk about that. We also wanted to talk about some other like really cool things that happened this week. There was a ton of shit, and we're gonna actually try to involve little snippets of game news that you probably already know, but I think it's kind of fun to talk about anyways.
Oh,
Um,
yeah, I'm fucking that's kinda what this show is about, right? Where we just sit here and we're like, "Heh let me tell you my opinions."
no, that's technically what the show's supposed to be about. Half the time, it's like, hey guys, I watched another season of Frasier this week.
Yeah, yeah. It do shit, it do be like that, where it's like, "So what have we been up to?" "Games,
Yeah,
Frasier."
Frasier.
And then every once in a while, we're just like, "Ah, fuck this anime."
Well, sometimes it's just that's just how it is. Sometimes it's just the natural order of the podcast is just like wanting to just talk about whatever, and so we just do. Did anything fun happen to you this week, Amanda? Did anything like ridiculous happen?
12-hour shifts.
Oh my god. I meant
Yeah,
like fun.
12-hour shifts happened. Because I was supposed to come fucking practice play fucking Phasmophobia so I could be on the stream. Had a 12-hour shift, couldn't make it. Went, "It's okay, I'll be there Thursday." And then my boss just went, "No." Like, to be fair, it's because I got there hella fucking late, and he was like, "Look, there's, like, no one else you need to cover," and I'm like, "Fuck."
Oh my god. Yeah, I actually just ended up bailing on Phasmophobia. which sucks. I know that that's like something that you guys wanted, and I super get it. I'm a big bitch. I get it, but like I wasn't having fun, and I was like, oh man, that's not gonna be like a super interesting episode, you know. If I'm just sitting there and not having fun, having to pretend to be fun, like having to be fun, like I don't want to ever do a show like that.
Oh yeah.
Like that's like the one thing I don't want to do. Like this is all supposed to be just, you know, for funsies. We've been doing this for years. It's supposed to be for funsies.
Oh yeah.
So I wanted to apologize. I know that like I said I was gonna, you know, be there and then I didn't end up being there. That's, you know, you guys can make fun of me for being like a big bitch coward and all that stuff. That's totally fine. That being said, let's go ahead and get into channel news this week. So channel news this week is the usual. On Tuesday, you guys will be receiving more Persona 4. Persona will be at its new time, 9 p.m. EST. We usually do the show around 8. All of our shows tend to be around 8 o'clock. The reason why is because of me, actually. Because where I live, it is Eastern Central Time, or Eastern Standard Time, and those two, Amanda and Nate, live out in different time zones, and so this was sort of just a way to be like, all right, so this is night for this section, this should be fine. But there's no reason to have the show if I'm not in Persona anymore. Like, there's no reason for it to be at 9 or at 8 o'clock. So giving Amanda another hour, obviously, to get home from work, and letting Nate sleep in another hour.
A blessing.
Oh yeah.
It's just because the stream for me starts up at 5. I get off of work at 4.
Oh yeah.
So it's a mad dash to get home, and I'm like, shit, every fucking time.
Oh yeah. It does not sound fun. But yeah, so we have that. Also, throughout the podcast, if you guys have any questions whatsoever, go ahead and ask them. Put them down in the comment section down below, and we will answer them at the very end of the podcast. That's something I do want to do, even if there is no questions at the end. I just want you guys to know that you can probably just ask us anything you want. Thursday, Gang Mudo and I will be probably doing something wacky, some dumb shit. Like it's always pretty silly.
Hell yeah.
And then Friday, you have some more Persona 4 coming your way. We know that the schedule's a little limiting right now, especially because Gang Mudo and I actually don't know what we're going to be doing. Well, Ace Attorney stopped kind of being fun for me a little bit, so we stopped doing that. And so it's kind of, me and Gang Mudo are kind of in between games, and that's the thing. So maybe one day we'll come back to that game, but as of right now, not really feeling it. So I don't know what we're gonna play on Thursday. I have no idea. So that could be any range from more Pokemon to whatever, honestly. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, so channel wise, everything's pretty much on the same level as it usually is. You know, I haven't had a chance to ask you, Amanda, are you guys going to be doing Persona at Christmas?
Oh shit, what day does Christmas fall?
It's a Friday this year.
Oh fuck.
Yeah, it's Christmas is on a Friday.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so if you aren't, I'm staying home this year. So I'll just stream. I'll just stream. I'll just do a Christmas Mad Dash stream where I just stream whatever.
I can probably do one, right? I can probably do one, yeah. Because all of our stuff gets done like first thing in the morning. So yeah, fucking more than likely, I'll be done well before the stream time. So like, I guess we'll see.
Yeah. I have some playthroughs scheduled for next year that I have to start like really figuring out, because like some of them, obviously because of the stream schedule, we don't have a lot of wiggle room to put other series and stuff. Like last week we did a holy shit last Mad Dash episode of Valkyria Chronicles.
God, it was so fucking funny though.
Oh my god, yo, dude, so good. But holy shit, that thing was last minute. So like I want to do more stuff like that. I want to do. I also want to do a series of games that would take a long time, but I think that I would something I want to start next year and see how it does. And we'll talk a little bit more about that later in the episode. I do want to talk about it because there is a beast that has been awoken inside me, and we must talk about that beast.
Which one?
You'll get there.
I'm like, is it the ships you now contain, or
No,
is
no,
it,
no, no. The
or is it the fact that you could be the one-winged angel?
let's talk about that one first, shall we?
Absolutely.
All right. So, if you did not hear over the course of this week at the Game Awards on Thursday, our big bad boy from Final Fantasy VII, Sephiroth, has made his way into Smash. The internet has lost their shit. Oh my god.
Dude, it's because it's fucking Sephiroth, and you get to be him. You get to
Oh,
play as him.
just like in
And that's
Dissidia,
the
dude.
hypest shit ever.
Yeah, just like Dissidia. Like, it's gonna be so good. Like,
Oh god.
it's
Wait, I think we've talked about this before. What outfit is he wearing?
this is it looks like it's definitely like it has to be a remake. Like, it has to be, right?
Right? Because I want to say that it's remake,
Yeah. It has to. Yeah.
but to be fair, it's also kind of hard to tell what the original one was working with, considering it was about 5 pixels stacked on top of each other.
I mean, it's a pretty simple outfit. It's shoulder pads and a trench coat. I'm sure that, like, you know, it is what it is. You know what I mean?
You say that, and then there's the Kingdom Hearts one.
Yeah, but okay, but Kingdom Hearts one is like super distinct. Like, you can tell that one like from a mile away with like the way it's designed. Even to the Cydia costume, which is a mix between the original concept art and, you know, yeah, it's just his regular Seven outfit. It's the trench coat and the shoulder pads. But like and then they also, for his alternate costume, they have his final boss one where Cloud and him fight in the darkness, and he's like shirtless. So
I heard a rumor that Cloud is supposed to get a small update.
Oh, and get like true Omni Slash or some shit.
Yeah. Like specifically to deal with Sephiroth.
That would be so super fun. I really hope that that's true. I don't know. I wanted to say, like, Sephiroth is, it's just so cool. Like, there's been so many times, I think, in the last week or just in the last month where I've been kind of embracing the stupid, dumb edgelord shit that I used to just really, really love. And Sephiroth being in Smash is like just like the pinnacle of it all. And I love how every time Sephiroth is brought up, everyone talks about like always talks about his sword, right? They always talk about the length of his sword and shit like that. Like, oh, that guy's overcompensating for something. Like it's a brand new joke that we haven't heard for 20 plus years.
Yeah, no one's ever told that joke before. Oh my god.
Yeah, so fucking funny.
Fucking creative innovator of humor.
It's like whenever someone tells like a Mario eats mushrooms joke. Like,
I know. Or fucking god. You know, weed and Pokemon. Oh my god. The god of comedy has rained down his blessings.
I'm really glad me and you have the exact same responses, because as a fan of Final Fantasy for a majority of my life, like it's like, oh yeah, the sword is stupid. It's like, oh my god, are they both overcompensating for something? Like, comment, subscribe. Like, just fucking dude. Like, I think there's this one dude who had to talk about Sephiroth, and I can't remember for the life of me. I was just scrolling through Twitter, and he pronounced his name so fucking wrong. It was like it's like Sephiroth. Like, he just
Sephiroth?
It was so wrong, and like it hurt. Like, I get it. There's a whole
God.
generation of people. If you didn't play Final Fantasy's remake, or if you just aren't familiar with Final Fantasy, like, I super get it. Like, you obviously, I can't expect you to know every single character in game media, but I mean, they said his name.
They say his name
you
like
could
several times. A simple Google search will easily tell you what the fuck his name is.
exactly, like, it's so weird to be to just be like, how do you not, like, at least, like, look it up before you, like, if you're like questioning how to pronounce it. It's like, maybe there's like 1,001 sources that speak his name. Like, you could at least, like, do more than nothing. Like, I get that you want, like, and I'm sure it was just probably for just like a channel that like had to like talk about the latest game news now or some shit like that. But I mean, come on, like, come
It
on,
takes like 5
like
seconds to
even,
just Google search
I
how you
mean,
say his name.
oh yeah, like, even tonight, like, we're gonna talk about some stuff, and like, one of the things about My Hero Academia that I want to talk about is the fact that I have a really hard time remembering everyone's names. I have a really,
Same.
really hard time remembering everyone's names, and we're gonna talk about that. But I don't care what his moveset is. I don't care what his final smash is. I don't care about, like, any of that stuff. I'm just so fucking happy that Sephiroth is here. And that like, I know that sounds like so stupid, but like, he's just, yeah, it's like, yeah, in a game that is covered head to toe in gaming icons. I mean, it does it feel a little cheating that like Sephiroth is in and that's another character from 7? Yeah, sure. But I do feel like Sephiroth is like, as everyone's making the joke now, he's not just any anime swordsman, he's the anime swordsman.
Oh
So
yeah.
I mean,
And
his
also you
influence is
can't
felt like
complain.
everywhere.
Oh yeah. You can't complain that, oh, it's another FF7 character. How many fucking Fire Emblem characters are there?
Yeah,
How
but
many
but yeah,
fucking Mario characters are there?
yeah, but like, Mario is pure Nintendo, and Fire Emblem, like, it's not like people don't complain about Fire Emblem. I guess it's not about the fact that it's another Final Fantasy character. It's the fact that it's from the same one. You know, like, it should have
Who are they
been
gonna grab? Lightning?
Noctis. In the last couple of years, it hasn't been.
Yeah, who the fuck they gonna grab?
God, that's
You've
really it.
got Noctis or Lightning is your most 2 recent ones.
Yeah,
That's
no,
it.
yeah, no, you're not wrong. I like both Noct and I love Lightning, but I will admit that they are not good picks for representatives of Square Enix. I mean, I remember when Lightning was really pushed for Dissidia Duodecim, and then Noct was obviously pushed as the DLC character, I think, in Tekken. Like, so like, they had like their guest spots and everything like that, but like, if you look at like those two games, like, especially with the fact that like 13 had 2 sequels, and Final Fantasy 15 isn't even technically completed, with the true ending of the game being a fucking novel.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess 7 would be who you pick from. It's not like you can just be like, oh, who's coming into Smash, and it's just Jet. it's like who is this guy? But I'd be like, yeah, I'd be like the one dude in the audience, like, and the whole audience would be like, so I'd be like, yeah, it's Jet. Like, look at him. Like,
His taunt is just, you can't even catch a ball, much less catch a girl.
I just want to watch Jet punch like Mario in the face.
I just want to watch Jet bully everybody in Super Smash
He
Bros.
just like grabs Kirby and just kicks him like a smash ball.
He just, God, a fucking blitz ball. Just uses him as a fucking blitz ball.
Oh.
His like Mark III fucking move.
Like, I know the chances are like 0 to slim, but holy shit, that would be so fucking funny. It's just Bully Dad, the fucking Smash character.
Dude, people would be all over that. Are you kidding me?
Oh my! Especially if it was
Well,
his Dissidia
I say
costume.
people. I mean us.
Well, yeah, but it would be that scene from School of Rock where no vacancy wins the fucking Battle of the Bands, and it's just that one chub dude out there who's like, yeah, no vacancy, like and everyone else is like confused and bitch and like fucking like. But the point is that Sephiroth is in Smash. It is really cool. I want to like I said before, I don't really even want to know any of his like cool stuff. Like there's on I think it's the 14th. It's either the 14th or the 17th. I think it's the 17th. Or is it the 14th? I don't really remember. I think it's the 17th. I think it's literally a week from the Game Awards. They're going to do this whole video about like all the movesets he has, the final smash, all the references, the extra skins that are going to be coming with him. And so
I say Tifa would have been a solid choice as well.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, abso-fucking-lutely. I think that that it's just really cool to see him there, and Tifa would have been a great choice. I think that I as much as Dissidia NT didn't succeed, like as much as I loved the Dissidia series and how much I just really didn't like NT, I think that it might be done and gone forever, but the idea of a Final Fantasy fighting game is a very solid, strong idea.
So Nexian says that the biggest power move would be add Aerith and then add Sephiroth.
Oh, that would have been cool.
Like, well, you could have even made it like one of those fake out ones. Because I know they had like a fake out one not too long ago. But you could have a fake out one where it looks like they're introducing Aerith and then kill her.
Dude, I think it'd be really fun. There has to be like a really fun way to do like that's the thing. I'm very curious to see who the next one is going to be, but I'm just happy that we had 4 fighters over the course of this year. We had Violet at the very beginning, we had Min Min, we had Steve from Minecraft, and then we had Sephiroth. So Sephiroth's coming out this month. He's coming out like I thought he was going to come out in January. He's coming out this month. So they must have been working on him for some time. So this is going to be like really, really crazy.
I hope this only means good things for part 2 of the remake.
Me too. I am terrified about the implications of the remake.
I need my boy.
Yeah.
I need Vincent Valentine.
He'll show up. He'll show up.
I know he'll show up. I want him to show up. Do you know why?
Lucrezia.
So I can buy a fucking figure of him that isn't like $1,000. I want.
Oh god.
Because now I have adult money.
That's right. That is true. That is like super true.
I don't own anything other than like Dirge of Cerberus, fucking NFF fucking 7. I have like no merch for this boy. Fucking, but now I've got fucking adult money. No one can stop me.
Oh, there you go. Speaking of adult money, let's talk about the total buying out of the Game Awards. I'm just joking. Obviously, there was no exchange of money. I can't prove that.
I'm not liable. It was a joke.
It's yeah. So the Game Awards were this Thursday, like this last Thursday. That's obviously where we got the Sephiroth news story. But the Game Awards themselves were actually like pretty fun. I kind of watched it in my peripheral as Tabby was watching it. And they had some like really fun reveals. Obviously there was the Smash one. And they did talk about like some different games that were coming out. They did this whole thing with Mario where they did a couple different songs. It was kind of short, but it wasn't like the worst thing ever. It was fun. They did the Game of Award. They did the Game of the Year award at the very end, and it was The Last of Us Part 2, beating out Doom Eternal, Animal Crossing, Ghost of Tsushima, and a bunch of other games. In fact, The Last of Us Part 2 won a shit ton of games, or a shit ton of awards that night.
I'm gonna be honest, I was surprised.
Me too, and I think a lot of people are on the same boat. And it's not that we don't think that The Last of Us Part 2 is probably a good game. Once again, did not play the game, don't exactly know, and obviously, how I don't want to sit here and be like, oh, the game was shit. But I will say that while I do think some of the awards were totally earned, especially with the accessibility stuff, I think that because I've read articles about how they made they made some things so that people that are like visually impaired could like still play the game, or people who had like problems with color, stuff like that, like they would still be
Yeah.
able to play the game and it would be fine. Or even just hearing issues, like they did things that could be done visually on the screen for those people, and I think that is a wonderful step in the right direction for that specific thing. But there was a lot of problems with The Last of Us Part 2. I remember
There was a lot of drama.
Well, I remember people being very very upset because of the amount of crunch that was going into that game. There was people that were upset because of the fact that the game itself was a very mild reviews. Like it was like maybe like 7s, 8s, not like it's not like 10s or 9s, right? And it just I just remember people just being very upset about that game in general. Now, obviously, there is the petty drama shit.
Laura Bailey.
Yeah.
Poor Laura Bailey.
I will say Diego was absolutely right. Diego's in the comments right now. He says, I haven't played The Last of Us 2 either, so I can't comment on it winning Game of the Year either. But I do find it dumb as fuck that it won Best Direction, and I super agree with that. Best Direction should go to a game that takes care of its employees and should, be a generally good experience producing the game. And the amount of crunch that has been kind of just always seeped into the game industry, but is now making the light of day,
Mm.
It is fucking appalling. It is ridiculous how hard these people work for no money, no overtime. They're asked to work on their weekends, working many hours straight. There are some people who, the work conditions are so bad in some cases that Blizzard employees can't even afford food in the fucking cafeteria. It's fucking ridiculous. Best Direction. Jesus fucking Christ. Hades, on the other hand, Supergiant Games takes super good care of their employees, asking them they have to mandatorily take 20 days off of work. They have to do that. They take care of their employees, and that should be the standard for the game industry. It is a little ridiculous that these games get pushed out giant buggy pieces of shit or not as polished as they should be. As you see, I'm transitioning here into the next story. And then, the executives still get their bonuses, because that's what happened with Cyberpunk 2020 or with 2077. Cyberpunk 2020, I keep calling it 2020. Cyberpunk 2077, game that just came out last week. It was a highly anticipated game for a lot of people. Not my cup of tea. I wasn't necessarily excited for it. But this game is running like horseshit on PS4 and Xbox One. It is mildly so it's running a little better on the PS5 from what I can understand. And on PCs, it is a horrible, buggy mess. This game was pushed way, way too early. Was pushed out.
Really was.
They should have taken way more time to do what they need to do. But obviously, the worst part about this is that it's still a giant, buggy piece of shit. And it has everything to do with the fact that they just kept pushing. They just kept going with the crunch, man. They kept pushing their employees to do more and more, trying to get this fucking game out for what, the end of a quarter or some shit? obviously I don't know every fucking detail about how business works. I'm not going to pretend like I do. I'm not, I don't really pay that much attention to, the business side of gaming, but I do think that this is a little fucking ridiculous,
Yeah, I mean, some people were comparing the crunch time for Cyberpunk to be very similar to Red Dead Redemption 2,
Hmm.
like 100-hour work weeks.
Jesus Christ. I think that we have
Mm.
come to a point where we as the consumer and we as, the general audience, this has gone on for too long. How is this? Like, this would be unacceptable in any other business, right? This would be like a huge news story in any other business. These people working so fucking hard, working themselves exhausted for this, for games, and the executives get to fucking sleep well at night and shit like that. Like, fuck that. It's a little fucking ridiculous, and it's I don't know. I want more super giant games in. I mean the production company. I want more of those teams and that way of working in the industry, and less of CD Projekt and less Blizzard and less Activision specifically.
Oh yeah, I mean, the worst part is that there's honestly a lot of defenders for the crunch time
Fuck yeah,
surrounding
fuck that,
Cyberpunk,
fuck
saying
that.
that like, "Oh no, poor babies. At least you have a job during the pandemic," or "Oh no, you get paid overtime." Overtime? A work week is 40 hours. They fucking doubled it. Easily. Doubled it. Are you
Yeah,
kidding me?
yeah.
That's not holy shit, dude.
I think there. I don't know how we could ever do this, but I think that there needs to be. Look at the success of Hades, a game that really took its time, right? And
Mhm.
it's a super good game. I don't normally play games like Hades, but I'm having a blast with it every time I load it up. I have a really good time with Hades. A lot of people have a really good time with Hades. It is a wonderful game. And I
Right.
just don't get it. If a game needs to be polished, it needs to be polished. Pushing a game or a film or any piece of media for the sake of pushing it doesn't help. All it does,
Well,
that is a sales move. That is a business move. That is not.
oh, it's solely a business move. I ended up watching people talk about why do game companies push for sooner and sooner dates. It's some bullshit.
Oh, it is ridiculous. There needs to be more super giant games, like I said, the productions, and less of the rest of this shit, because this is ridiculous. And
Oh.
I am appalled at how little this topic is discussed. And
Oh,
once
by the way, a 100-hour work week split up amongst 7 days is still a 14-hour workday. Mhm. So you can work 14 hours 7 days a week. You can work 16 and a half hours for 6 days a week. Or if you
Ugh.
want a Monday through Friday, 20 hours.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I don't. Why wouldn't you just hire more people? Or like, there's so many ways to ease this out. Delay the game. Hire more people. Like, fucking.
They can't delay the game because the people who fund the game, those backers, those fucking the people who dump money into that gaming company, as it turns out, the second, like, E3 and those gaming fucking conventions roll around, they want development or they threaten to pull out money.
Man, you. This is fucking ridiculous. There has to be something. I mean, obviously, I don't want to drone on too much about this because it doesn't feel like there is an easy solution to this. But super giant games is the way to go. I can't. I mean, and maybe that's a little optimistic or whatever, but I do feel that it's not too much to ask to simply treat your employees a little better, and that could be said about every fucking group right now who is still being forced to work during the pandemic. You
Oh,
know,
I,
God, I can't even imagine. Like, there's all the crunch, and then also the pandemic. Like, fuck.
right? Fucking so here's the thing is that every single gaming company out there, not the best. A lot of them make really shitty choices, a lot of them fuck up. Fuck EA though, fuck them.
Yeah.
They're pieces of shit. Yeah, no, fuck them.
What what did they do?
So besides the millions that they make in microtransaction. Oh yeah, by the way, Blizzard in its microtransactions alone, I think made like 4 billion this year.
Oh God.
And they're whining. They're
It's their
whining.
fucking CEO who fucking whines. It's that fucking jackass in Activision.
Oh yeah.
Fucking whines. Ugh.
But EA, some of their most well-known fucking products out there, if you like Madden, I none of us do. But everybody knows what fucking Madden is, right?
Well, we don't like Madden. I'm not a big sports game guy. But yeah, continue.
That program was stolen.
Really?
It's stolen. EA didn't make it. They stole it from someone. They stole it from a fucking the dude who fucking made it. I don't remember his name because it's been a long time, but he made it and he offered to go into work with EA. And they fucking took it and then they just blackballed him.
It feels like the game industry is a wild west of just horrible business practices. And also Diego also said another interesting point about MGS. He says, yes, I'm pretty sure that's what happened with Kojima MGS5. They were rushed to finish, and rather than crunch, they had to send out the game out unfinished. That's unfortunate. Yes, that is super true because the game does not even include its one of its many ending missions that was supposed to put a cap on a story arc that didn't have time to finish. Which really hurts the game narratively. So, oh,
Can you imagine?
it is a very obviously depressing kind of topic to talk about.
You want to know what's worse, Mitch? Is that mangakas actually have like a very similar schedule.
Yeah, yeah,
Mangakas, people who fucking make anime for everyone to enjoy, they don't go home. They sleep under their desks
yeah.
and then get up to work. It's
Yeah.
bad.
Well, because remember, Ichiro Oda had that huge health scare a while back. The guy who, for context, writes and draws One Piece, had a big health scare a while back. Smoked a lot, to keep, he's makes the biggest manga out in Japan, and he had to be hospitalized for a second. And even recently, he had a health scare that they were concerned about. A lot of people thought it could have been, uh, virus, and I don't think it was ever actually revealed what it was. I think maybe it was just like regular, or maybe like it was like a regular flu or whatever. But like, it's not great. It's not great. I do feel very unfortunate that I want to talk about the manga I've been reading. Um, but yes, it is.
Uh, it's
The
really, really shit. Yeah, I do feel bad, but also here's a mangaka schedule, by the way.
uh, let me go ahead and
This is like a mangaka's like it has his name right at the top,
here.
Shibashi Hiroshi.
Look, do me a favor. Could you look up who that is? Because it sounds so familiar.
Sure.
Yeah. Let me go ahead and put that up for
Um,
everyone.
Let's see. What are you known for, sir?
Larg.
Oh, oh,
What's up?
uh, he is known for Rise of the Yokai Clan. Just
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, I know what
He
that is. Here you
was
guys go.
he was Hirahiko's fucking assistant during Steel Ball Run.
Huh.
Yeah,
Well, goddamn.
look at this fucking schedule.
Oh, I hope that shows up well for you guys. But yeah, it's fuck. Yeah, the life of a mangaka sounds fucking ridiculous.
It just holy shit. These crunches should should honestly just not be okay. I know that they have, like, a weekly schedule, some of these guys. Holy shit, look at this fucking schedule, though.
Yeah. I'm also a mangaka is such a creative position. You know, can you imagine if you just have writer's block? You're just having a fucking hard time. You still have to fucking be part like doing this particular bit. Like fuck.
And, if you look at the schedule, this guy has 3 hours of free time in a week on Saturday. 3 hours. That's it.
Huh.
All he does is work.
God damn. Ugh.
I wish we could let people take care of themselves.
Man, I guess the question becomes, and before we talk about the rest of the minute, I guess I would ask specifically for mangakas then,
Hmm.
how would you solve that situation? In my mind, it's alternate the series. It would be 1 week you have One Piece, My Hero, fucking Spy X Family, whatever, and then the next week you have Chainsaw Man, etc., etc. That that way you give people more time to work on what they need to work on.
Honestly, so it's usually like these mangakas work for larger companies, right? And they meet with their editors regularly. Why can't they meet with an assistant regularly? Someone who helps them out. This guy helped out on Steel Ball Run. Why can't the company afford to give them somebody who will, like, because if you look at this thing, it says assistants arrive. What are the assistants doing at this point in time? Because they only arrive for 1 hour, 1 day a week, and I don't see them anywhere else on this schedule, so, either they need more assistants than they're being given, because this is a jail sentence is what this is.
Yeah.
Because when I was, like, way, way little, I was like, "Oh, that would be so cool to make a manga," and then I found out what the fucking work life was like, and I went,
Speaking of manga, when I guess the less kind of serious note about the horrid lives of mangakas, I do want to talk about two specific manga today. I've been reading a lot of manga lately. And Chainsaw Man ended today. We have talked a bit about Chainsaw Man here and there on the show. It being a manga that I feel that the less you know about going into it, the better.
Yeah, I did. Look at that fucking thing on the side of him.
The less you know about the manga, the better.
The kidney bean with the chainsaw face.
It is a dog. Anyways, the point is that this particular manga had really captured me over the course of the year. It ended this week. And my favorite part about the ending, if you do not want to hear the spoiler, go ahead, skip about 5 minutes into the podcast. skip about 5 minutes, you'll be fine. And for those who are listening live, just mute me for like 5 minutes.
Cover your ears.
The manga ends. It has been building up. It has this wonderfully bombastic, like everything about Chainsaw Man is so different. It's so not to structure. There is such a in a traditional manga, which we'll be talking about later, there is build-up arcs, the hero's journey, if you will. And the idea is that in manga, you start from one point, and as it escalates, you go into an arc. It's almost like they build up a roller coaster. Tensions continue to increase. The climax happens, and then you take your break. You have your big bombastic moment at the end of the arc. Take a break. Keep going. That's not how Chainsaw Man works. Chainsaw Man is while there is arcs in the traditional sense, or while there are, I guess in the technical sense, and while there are story beats that kind of happen, there's so much that just consumes what you're like. It just consumes all expectations of what you are looking forward to. The manga ends in such a interesting way, with a kind of nice conclusion. It is a somewhat bittersweet ending for a series that is very lax about killing characters off willy-nilly. And it ends. You have Denji tug at the chainsaw bit, and the very last box says "End of Part 1." And I sat there.
And you just went, what?
I laughed so hard. I hadn't laughed. I hadn't had such a good laugh in such a long time. And I sat there and I'm just like, what the fuck? It was such a genuine reaction. This manga has been able to get every reaction out of me. I laugh at these characters. I cry. It's such a genuine story, whether you like the characters or not, or there are characters that are introduced only to be killed off later, like in a later scene, but it feels almost anti-shonen in some ways, the way that your expectations are played. And to see the end of Part 1 at the very bottom, it tugged my heart. I was like, oh, I was sad, but I was also so happy because that means that there's gonna be more. And I love Chainsaw Man. Chainsaw Man's gonna have an anime adaptation. I really, truly cannot wait. I talked to Josh about this. I really can't wait for all those people to be like, oh man, Mitchell, have you heard about Chainsaw Man? I'm like, yeah, yes, I have. It's the way that Nate reacts to trying to, when people recommend him Hades, even though he's been there since the beginning.
We even streamed it way back during the beta.
Oh, it's so fucking funny. But Chainsaw Man is so great. It's such a wonderful manga. And when I say that, I don't mean that in the lighthearted way. It is so different. It's so unique. If you have not checked out Chainsaw Man, it is available on Shonen Jump for $2 a month. You can read 80 chapters a day, some shit like that. I know sounds like we get paid by Shonen Jump to do that, but no, it's just a wonderful service. Speaking of another wonderful Shonen Jump title, I have been getting into My Hero Academia lately. It took forever.
It really fucking did.
So what happened was I caught up to, it must have been earlier this year. Not earlier this year, but it must have been only a couple months ago. But a couple months ago, I caught up with One Piece. One Piece is oh my god, it's an intense moment right now in One Piece. There is some godlike shit happening.
I really hope his mangaka is okay.
It seems like, he's still writing fucking bangers every week. So yes, I assume he's okay.
Yeah, but he's also a little old man, so I hope he's okay. I'm allowed to be worried about the man, because that's an issue for the Berserk mangaka.
Yeah, he's getting up there. Yeah. But I've been getting into My Hero Academia. Obviously I'm not going to say anything new about the show that no one already has heard 1,000 times. This is clearly the shonen title of this generation. While we had Naruto and Bleach, and One Piece, obviously, they have My Hero Academia. What a wonderful title to have, especially in a world that is dominated by the Marvel Cinematic Universe and the American standard of heroes. Um, to have a series that kind of touches a little bit on hero society and all that stuff, and having the American kind of hero inspiration with All Might and some of the characters that exist in My Hero Academia, as well as having a mix of some Japanese heroes. It is a incredible little series. I read up to chapter 75, 78. And then only today I switched over to the anime because I was like, well, as fun as it is to just sit in the dark and read manga, I do kind of want to watch it. So I have been watching a little bit of season 3. So the episode I ended on right before we, like literally 10 minutes before setting up the podcast, was the episode in which Bakugo was kidnapped by the villain league, and All For One has revealed himself.
Yeah.
So it is the climax of this arc. It's gonna be good. I'm actually probably gonna watch more right after the podcast.
So, can I bombard you with questions?
Yeah, abso-fucking-lutely. Yeah.
Okay, so first two questions are kind of connected. One, I've heard you say the opposite about My Hero. Why did that change? And two, you also said that the anime didn't catch your interest, but the manga did. Why?
So, okay, so I'll answer the second one. The pacing of season 2 really bothered me. I don't know what it is. I know we've talked about it on the show before, and I think my answer at the time was it reminded me a lot of the Chunin exams from Naruto, and there was something about that I wasn't exactly excited for.
Right.
And it's there was a lot at the time that I wasn't really interested in reading more shonen series. I actually blame Chainsaw Man for this. Where I had a little faith in shonen until I started reading a little bit more and seeing that there were some really interesting series coming out. And all of a sudden I did have more of I guess a tolerance for shonen writing, which sounds really pretentious and douchey, mind you. But sometimes you're just not in the mood for, a certain genre. Sometimes, like, especially I think at the time we were watching Naruto with Nate for a while there, and consuming Naruto every fucking day, and reading One Piece and all this other stuff. Like, I think that it was a little bit of an overload, and I think that at the time I wasn't a really big fan of Todoroki, and the part that I ended on in season 2 was the fight between Midoriya and Todoroki. And there were two characters that I wasn't necessarily really invested in. As much as I like Midoriya, I just don't. He's a little tropey sometimes. And then Todoroki, I kind of just saw as like, oh, great, it's Sasuke, or it's this edgy kind of douchebag.
Don't talk about icy hot like that.
But what I found is that once I started reading it, and the pacing of the anime wasn't necessarily in the way, and obviously, because that's another thing I will admit, the anime has a couple of pacing issues, especially in season 2, where if you're not necessarily invested in the fight, like, it's for me it's like, okay, well, I can just read through this a little faster. And as I was reading it, that's when I became invested. The irony of the situation was, if I just sat there and watched the anime for like one more episode, I would have been hooked, because the fight between Midoriya and Todoroki is a very fun fight. Not only is it fun just to watch these two who came from very different backgrounds kind of go at it, but then learning about Todoroki's background and understanding where he's coming from, why he's so cold to like everyone around him, it's refreshing. And then obviously they take his character, and now he's a lot friendlier with everyone. It's not like Sasuke. It's not like they really subvert the trope And Todoroki is now like good friends with Midoriya,
Oh,
and so it's definitely like once you get past that, at least for me, this is not an everyone problem. This is specifically me. Once I got past that, then it's like, okay, well, now look at what they're doing with these characters. Like once you get out of the sports festival, or once I got out of the sports festival, then it went back to the things that I actually liked about My Hero Academia, which was just the world that they were building. So like right after that, they deal with hero killer Stain, which I actually remembered from Vigilantes, because I read that manga every time there's a new chapter. I think it's like a bi-weekly manga, and I remember Stain from Vigilante, so I was like, oh shit, okay, so he came from this one. And then watching Midoriya and Ida and Todoroki take him down was a really fun arc in itself, because you get to see that these kids are capable of actually dealing with the hero killer. But then it also kind of turns it around. So it's like, oh, I thought Stain was just going to be like this no-name kind of like dude who was in Vigilantes as sort of a reference, but no, Stain's actions then impact other people who have these problems with hero society and the way that heroes are portrayed. Stain believes that heroes should not be, that there's too many fake heroes, that there are people who are just, putting on a show, being, using their quirks, getting money specifically, and that's not what a real hero is. And one of his last lines before they take him away is like, the only person who will ever kill me is a real hero, like All Might. Then he like passes out. But like that line resonates with so many other people. It's now the League of Villains is able to get like more people, including Dobby and is it Fugo and like some other cool people like Muscular and all these like really like intense quirk users. And that's the thing that I love the most. The villain designs. Holy shit. Dobby is so cool. Like fucking
Dobby is the sickest looking motherfucker out
Dobby
there.
is so awesome. Like he looks like Hot Topic trash, but I am too.
And that's why he's my favorite. Can I just say that like he was right? From what you know about Endeavor, he's fucking right. Endeavor's a fucking piece of shit.
Endeavor is a piece of shit. Like that's another thing I actually really like. That the fight, I was such a dumbass. I should have just watched the next episode. Like Endeavor is such a piece of shit, and they even addressed the fact that like, yeah, people marrying for quirks was a real problem last generation. And like that's something that's really interesting. The world building is really gets me. Is how they have like these generational problems. There's a history to the world, and it's so seeped in it, and that's what I really just dig about it. And seeing all these villains like Muscular, obviously I went off and listed them all already. And Shiragaki, the one with the hand mask and like his whole like gimmick. It's like he's so creepy. The manga, oh my god, there was such a great moment where he's
you have it. You sent it over in the chat if you want to throw that up there.
Yeah. Let me go ahead and download that one real quick. There is a moment in which right after I think it was like literally right after the sports festival, Shiragaki, or no, it's after Hero Killer Stain, because Shiragaki is having a problem. He's like, why do everyone, like Stain, but they don't like me, right? He's trying to like figure it out. He's like, I just don't get it. What's wrong with me? And it's like, I don't know, Shiragaki, maybe you're like fucking weird. Like
maybe you're a fucking nightmare, man.
So he goes to a mall where Deku is, where Midoriya is, and he kind of holds him hostage, and he's like, so what do you think, man? Let me pick your brain a bit. And like, what do you think is the problem? And so Deku's trying to explain to him that, oh well, it's because Stain while you are just violent to be violent and you have your, you have your thoughts. Stain stood for something. Stain represented a disapproval of hero society as a whole. And so he's like, oh, I see. So it's All Might's fault. And this was the image that, like, that was drawn in the manga. And it's like, oh, the line work is so good. Like, I even tweeted about it because I was like, oh, that's so good.
God, Shirogake, I wonder why no one likes you. Maybe it's because you're drawn by Junji fucking Ito, you fucking monster man.
like it's to him it was like, okay, so it's not, so like in his mind he twisted it, and it's like, oh, the reason why everyone likes Stain and you and not me is because you guys all stand for something. All Might stands for something. I'll kill All Might. Like, I'll just end him. And so, like,
then everybody will love me.
And it's so, like, it's such a, like, clear, like, misunderstanding of what is happening, that it's so interesting. And, like,
it's a fucking nightmare to look at. The fucking image just changed because there's a delay. The image just changed for the stream, and I sat there going like,
so like and so
he's
like,
a fucking nightmare.
Oh yeah,
Holy
yeah.
shit.
But like, that's the thing, is everything I liked about Vigilantes, it all makes sense. Like, the manga has clearly worked itself, and it eased me back into it, and so now I'm really truly enjoying My Hero Academia. Also, I only answered your second question. What was the first one?
Beforehand, you had argued that My Hero wasn't like equivalent to the top 3 back in the day. What changed your opinion?
I think what changed my opinion was, I think when okay, so I'm gonna answer the question, and then I'm gonna try to explain a little bit, because I think My Hero is a really wonderful title. I think it's really super great. Now, obviously, now that I actually have given it the full chance and wasn't a dick about it, but I think the biggest thing about it that I would say is the fact that it has its influences from a lot of different places, including the big 3. But I don't think that there is such a thing as the big 3 anymore. Because manga has changed dramatically since the days of Naruto and Bleach, which is weird to say, but it's been 10 years. You know, Naruto ended, I think it was around like 2012, maybe. I think it was at the beginning of the last decade, right? It ended, and having that ending, and also Bleach ended, and so this era where these 3 shonen titles had kind of dominated the atmosphere ended, and now, ironically, if I had to say Naruto was like All Might, right? There's a new generation of manga that's coming forward in a post-Naruto, post-Bleach world.
We don't talk about Boruto.
Well, ironically, I believe Kishimoto has taken over Boruto. I think that there was some sort of internal conflict, and Kishimoto has taken control over Boruto.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh yeah, so there's going to be a dramatic shift in tone. If I had to place a wager, I'd say there's probably going to be a dramatic shift in tone, because Boruto was kind of going its own direction. But the point is that I think that My Hero, if My Hero was released 10 years ago, or not 10 years ago, if it was released back at the time of in about 2000, this would have been one of those pillars. I think it would have beaten Bleach out, or it would have been considered one of, they would have made it like a the big 4, right? Because that it is an equal quality to the other ones. But we exist in a in a post Big Three world. So I don't feel like there's never going to be another Big Three. Because if it was today, I'd say it'd be One Piece, My Hero Academia, and I don't know. I don't know the other. Like, I don't think there is another one. Some would argue Toriko, but Toriko ended pretty quickly, like in comparison to the other titles. Like, it had its own anime. It even had a crossover with One Piece, but that's about it. Some people would argue it's Dragon Ball Super, but I don't think that's helmed by Akira Toriyama. And if it is, I apologize, but Dragon Ball had its time and it's still going. So, I mean, good for fans of Dragon Ball, right? But I mean, I guess what I'm trying to say is that if I said that it wouldn't have been part of the Big Three, I retract my statement entirely. I think My Hero Academia is a wonderfully written series. That is very, it's very seeped in its own world and lore. But I would also argue that if I did say it in the context of it wouldn't be equal to the Big Three, it's probably due to the fact that there is no such thing as a Big Three anymore. Because there is another thing that we're not taking into consideration, that is the fact that manga is way more accessible than it was 20 years ago.
Oh yeah.
So, anywho,
manga and like independent fucking comic creators now have access to so much more than when we were kids.
oh yeah, and I mean, for fuck's sake, Homestuck, right? A piece of media that took the internet by storm in our younger years. Like, it was a piece of media that could never be made by traditional means, right? You couldn't have that by VIZ.
Mm-hmm.
Ironically, you can access Homestuck through VIZ.
Oh yeah, now you can after it became a hit, but beforehand, are you kidding me? The entire series is in MS Paint. The fuck are you on about? No one would have taken it seriously.
So, but yeah, My Hero Academia. It is. I'm really glad. I went back to this. I'm really very happy that I went back to My Hero Academia.
Too.
In fact, there is a game that I want to play. My Hero Academia's One's Justice. I want to play that one, but the problem is that I own the Switch copy, and the load times on the Switch are so fucked.
At some point, you and I should watch the movie.
I would really love
America.
I would really love that. I was trying to find it earlier, because I was like, oh man, like, I'm really on this My Hero Academia kick. Like, I would love to watch the movie. And I went to Funimation, it's not there. And I went to Hulu, it's not there. You can access it through Stars, but I don't think we have Stars. So, also, we share all of our streaming services.
I know. Is it on Crunchyroll?
I didn't check. I should. But yes. So if you have not checked out My Hero Academia, which you probably have, but if you haven't checked out My Hero Academia, this manga has a wonderful stamp of approval from me. I'm gonna keep enjoying it for as long as I can. It's really nice to be able to just enjoy something, and just to have like a series that you can just kind of go to. I'm gonna enjoy catching up. The biggest thing, right before I stop talking about My Hero Academia, the one thing I do want to point out is, oh geez, I have like an air bubble. Shit, it's because I shouldn't be drinking Coke, like Coke Zero, when I'm doing the podcast. I don't know why I make this mistake every time. But there is a thing that happened in which I got to chapter 78, then I started watching the anime, and then I realized something. There's like 250 chapters of My Hero Academia, at least 250 chapters. I was on chapter 78 when I switched over to the anime, and the anime is on season 3. There's a lot to go. There is a lot to go.
There's so much to go. And I am so excited for you to see some things later on.
Oh my god.
I can't wait. I can't think of her name right now. I can't wait for you to see what her quirk is.
Hmm. Um.
She's a scary bitch.
All right. Let's go ahead and talk about some lighter stuff over the course of the week. I've been playing a shit ton of Dauntless.
Yes, you have.
A
And I've
topic
been
for
playing a little bit too.
Yes, you've been joining me these last couple times. We've been having a lot of fun. I am level 17 or 18. I think I'm level 18 with my repeaters. I play with the guns. I just like the speed and the ability to give everyone a attack boost. I think that's really
And
really
I'm like
good.
level 6.
Well, yeah. But like the thing is that Dauntless is a super fun game. It's still I'm still having a lot of fun with it. Um, they made a change. It used to be that you, correct me if I'm wrong, but they had a transmog thing. So if you liked a piece of armor and you just wanted it aesthetically on you, you could essentially spend a dollar to get a transmog potion, and that would change it temporarily. But now I think the transmog potions activate permanently. So if you want like a piece of armor that you just want to kind of wear instead of just, like whatever piece of armor that, like if you're wearing mismatch armor, you can just transmog a bunch of pieces to make yourself look aesthetically really cool. There's a lot of quality of life changes that they made to Dauntless Reforged that I think really works in its favor. Game is wonderful. What's it like coming back to it after all this time for you?
Honestly, it's been really fun. I've been having such a good time with it. It does suck because I'm gonna be real with everybody here in front of God. I'm a giant fucking idiot who cannot find her goddamn PS4 controller. And at this point, I think I just have to buy a new
I
one.
think you do.
You want to know what's worse, Mitch? It was the matching controller for this limited edition PS4.
Dude, okay, hang on. Didn't you say that like your friend like borrowed it to make sure everything was okay?
Yeah, but he like only pulled it out to like the living room to test check it.
Oh, okay. Well,
So like he didn't like take the thing. Like so it in theory should be here. I just can't find it. And now I'm sat here like, well, my fancy controller's gone.
no.
So I don't have access to my original Dauntless account, so I had to completely restart over, which isn't too bad considering that they did just reboot everything so that everybody starts off at the same like playing field, which is fair, and I get that. And that's totally understandable, and I'm okay with that. Am I still gonna kick my own ass if I buy a PS4 controller and then find mine? Absolutely.
Yeah, but okay, so that's the thing. I will say this. I think you should though, because playing on the Switch. Well, I hate to say this, but your internet is a horrid mess sometimes, especially when we're doing the show. And when we play Dauntless together, I just feel bad because I know you can put your Ethernet cable in the back, at least in the back of your PS4, but you have a Switch Lite.
Yeah, not necessarily into the tiny itty bitty handheld.
Yeah, so also the game works surprisingly great with a couple stutters here and there on the Switch, especially docked. So if you guys have not checked out Dauntless, once again, it is a free-to-play game. Give it a shot. If you don't like it, you don't like it, but at least you can say you tried. All right. That being said, we did watch a movie with Josh this week.
Oh my god. Would you call it a movie or would you call it an experience? Because I don't think it qualifies as a movie.
We watched Highlander, The
I
Search
think
for
it
Vengeance.
qualifies as a mugging. It qualifies as a visual mugging.
It's okay, so here's the deal. Madhouse Studios decided they teamed up with the American group that was in charge of Highlander, and they decided to make a movie called Highlander: The Search for Vengeance. It follows a character named Colin MacLeod, not Connor MacLeod from the movie, but rather a whole new
Colin.
character in a whole new setting. So the idea is that every piece of Highlander media feels like it's in an alternate universe, and it probably is because it is. And so the things that make Highlander like really unique and special, like as a piece of media, is kind of erased here in Highlander: The Search for Vengeance, a movie that came out in 2007, which was, I think, 10 years after the series ended. And at the very least, I think it was at least 20 years after the movie. So the things that make Search for Vengeance really crazy is the fact that Colin is not actually a Highlander. He is not from the Highlands of Scotland. He was a Roman. No, he was not a Roman, but he was like a. I think they say he was born in England. He was like he's not Celtic, but he was born in England, like like in like 100 AD or something like that.
Yeah, like way, way, way in the fucking past.
And so he's been
I don't know because he ends up at oh my god, am I about to embarrass myself? Yep, fuck, I can't think. It's Stonehenge. He ends up at Stonehenge, though.
he
I
does.
forgot what it was called, and I just went rock. My brain went completely empty, and it went rock.
It's
And I was like, oh, oh
um so much like the movie Highlander, the story is kind of it flips and flops. So in some parts, at the very beginning of the movie, you are in the futuristic year of 2164. I think I actually got that year super wrong, but it doesn't say on the back of the box what year it is. But you are somewhere in 21, maybe like 64. Maybe that's the year, but it's somewhere in the future. Um, Colin is an immortal, so he's going on this adventure, a search for vengeance against Marcus Octavius, who was a Roman general. I'm literally reading this off the box. Um, and so the whole movie is about his quest for vengeance. The problem with the movie is that it's incredibly edgy for almost seemingly no fucking reason. The character doesn't really go through any like levels of change over the course of the movie. The love of
I
his
thought you were gonna say he had no reason to be edgy, and I was like, well, his girlfriend was crucified.
his okay, so that's the thing. I think it's his wife. Like he was madly in love with someone. Octavius kills his whole group of friends and her. And so he's on a quest for vengeance, but the last thing that she wants before he dies is she says, don't look for revenge, just live a life of peace, bro. Just live a life of peace. And he's like, I promise. And then she dies. I promise to get my revenge. It's like,
Yeah,
oh,
basically. I was like, okay, you little shit.
like it's and you'd think there's gonna be some sort of moment in which, like, you know, he comes to the realization that the quest for vengeance has consumed him, because there's a weird Yoda-esque sage-like character who it's very vague about how he exists. He just kind of does. Who
They also don't explain, like, what he's really doing.
Yeah, it's and he's like there to insult Colin the whole time. But then, like, you expect there to be like a moment where it's like, oh, you're right, revenge has consumed me. I need to start living a life of peace, and then maybe have that be a character arc for him. No, this is just an edgelord film about revenge. And I think that's the problem with the film, is that while visually very interesting, and while in the sense of like it being kind of like this weird, you know, blast from the past, while also having sci-fi elements and all that crazy stuff, fuck, there is just this lack of development on some of these characters. Like, you understand all of, like, I think if anything, Marcus Octavius is a character that, like, you understand what he's doing, right? He loved Rome. And even when Rome fell, he points to his head. He says, "Rome will never die in here," and he'll devote the rest of his existence to recreating Rome and the beauty of Rome. And you watch him and Colin fight over the centuries, and you see that wherever there was a horrible, like war, Marcus is there trying to recreate Rome. Like, and that's
every fucking time.
And like, whether it's the horrid warring states of Japan, whether it's World War One or Two, like, Marcus is there trying to recreate Rome. And there's something about that where it's like, I actually, like, I don't agree with his ideology. At least I know what he's fighting for. At least it's more than just revenge. He wants to make his utopian Rome. That's his whole gimmick. But, like, Colin has, outside of revenge, he has no personality. He has no real, like, we're supposed to care about him because we see what happens to him. But then there's an opportunity. The reason why he's called Highlander, and the reason why he calls himself Colin MacLeod, is because after the death of his friends and his girlfriend or wife, he finds love again. He finds friends again. He finds a group he's willing to fight for again.
Yeah, again, and he spends a whole minute and a half on screen with them before he, dips.
Oh. Anyways, the movie was not good. I think we're putting more thought into this than the writers did. But I that's the thing. I gotta say, like, as mean as I am when it comes to this, I do feel like there was an attempt. There was something there that just it couldn't be. There's something about Highlander that just has a very hard time being replicated. And I think that while I'm very glad I saw this movie, and I would totally watch it again if I was drinking, I don't think I would catch this film again. Highlander: The Search for Vengeance gets a, please at least give it one shot out of nothing. So,
if you want a weird time,
yeah,
go for it.
Speaking of weird times, while I've been playing Dauntless and some of my other games that I just kind of like mindlessly play when I'm trying to relax, it's something I'm working on a lot. Is to take a step back from all my work and just actually relax. I got through another season of Frasier. I've already seen this show. I've already watched it. I don't know.
It's a good show.
It's really witty and it's really funny, and I really like it. I really like Kelsey Grammer as Frasier Crane. It is so, like, I watched the season finale of season 4, where the power goes out, and it's such a nice season finale. It's such a breath of fresh air. It's such a, like, quaint little bit, and it's very nice. The show is incredibly witty. Yeah, some things didn't age that well, unfortunately. Some jokes and some humor don't age quite the way you'd want it to. But for the most part, it is an incredibly witty show. If you have not checked it out yet, I strongly recommend it. I know it's a bit hard to watch, and obviously this is technically the spin-off show of the show Cheers. But I feel like you can watch the show and have enough. I mean, they make a couple references here and there. I think one of my favorite little callbacks is there is a moment in which Frasier somehow gets like 3 girls interested in him. And Frasier's an incredibly intelligent guy. He's very smart, very witty, horribly narcissistic. So he's like, look, I'm trying to be very graceful about this. It's like, I'm not bragging. I must look at my good fortune, and I must, and I have to be very. You're right. I should try to be a little bit more humble about this, but I'm going to have as much fun as I can. And then you hear the phone call, and he's like, oh, Norm, guess who has 3 dates this weekend? And it's like, oh, why? Like, why would you do that? Like, it's so stupid.
I haven't really watched a lot of Cheers. Who's Norm?
Norm is the big dude. Norm comes in every episode, and they all go Norm, and then he says, "Oh, what is it? How's life treating you?" And then he says, "Life beats me, kicks me, and puts dirt in my face. Pour me a big one." And he takes his seat. He always says something witty.
Norm's a real one.
Yeah, Norm is really funny. Every episode he comes in, and they always ask him something, like, how's it going, or how's life treating you, or how's it hanging, or some shit like that. And he'll always have some sort of like witty comeback every episode since season 2. There's actually a really funny episode in which Frasier, I don't know why, but this is back when Frasier had his like long hair. He's balding and he has long hair and like a goatee, like a beard. And he has the baby. He has his child. He has Frederick, and
he's just bringing him into a bar.
He's bringing him into a bar, and he's playing darts. and his wife at the time says, "Aren't you worried that this is going to be like a bad influence on our son?" And Norm walks in, and the baby's first word is Norm, and it's so stupid, so ridiculous, cheesy, but I love it. I absolutely adore the writing. It's very, very well done in comparison to shows that would come later on. But speaking of another wonderfully written show, I have watched the most recent episode of The Mandalorian. Without giving too much away, because you are currently watching the show, and I don't want to give any spoilers about what's currently happening, but I will say the acting chops, just top notch, wonderful world that they visit this time around, and it is building up to a wonderful finale. I'm incredibly excited for this Friday when The Mandalorian Season 2 finale will be coming. And I just cannot wait to see how that turns out. I don't want to talk too much about it. Obviously, I don't want to spoil anything for you.
Well, I appreciate it.
And then the last topic of the night is so there was a sale. there was a sale on the Switch earlier this week. And I ended up picking up a couple games. I picked up Guilty Gear Accent Core, which favorite Guilty Gear game. I know that the new ones are really good, but they don't have ABBA, and I love ABBA. And the other one I wanted,
Mamma Mia, here we go again.
That's right. So the other one that we're going to talk about obviously is Blaze Blue. Okay, so here's the deal. I love Blaze Blue. In the early 10s, this game was all I played for hours on end. It is my favorite fighting game. It is, in my opinion, the best fighting game. I know a lot of people fight me on that, and that's totally fine. You're allowed to have your own opinion. I super get it.
You are wrong.
Well, then no, that's not true, because Blaze Blue is a game that, like, I understand that there are problems with Blaze Blue. It is a bit convoluted at times.
I just sat here and I was like, I know a thing I could say that would instantly get us canceled.
Well, like, that's the thing. It's everyone has their own fighting game. Everyone has their own pace. Everyone has their own like I think the thing about fighting games that make them really unique. I could sit here and wax poetic about fighting games. I love them so much. But the thing that makes every fighting game so unique is pacing. Every fighting game has its own speed. It has its own momentum when it comes to combat. And I think that Blaze Blue is my momentum. It's fast. It's hyper fast, you know? There's so many visual effects that happen on the screen. Everything feels anime, bombastic, and fun, and it's just candy to the senses. You know, it's just great. I love the designs. I love the story. I love everything about Blaze Blue. It's so good. I just love Blaze Blue. If I'm ever having a bad day, when I used to just go into practice mode, pick a favorite character, and I would just spend an hour or two just grinding while I ironically had Cheers on in the background, and I would just grind. And that was relaxing for me. It was it was just go into practice mode, put on the computer, set it to a high enough difficulty that you'll have fun, and then just go at it, practice, have fun, and that was my way of relaxing. And I've been playing a surprising amount of BlazBlue Central Fiction on the Switch. While I didn't, so the last one I had, Calamity, fuck, it's not okay. It's BlazBlue Calamity Trigger. It's Continuum Shift. I'm missing one. This is the fourth one. It's Chrono Phantasma Extend. That's the last one I really got into, right? So there's Calamity Trigger, which is the first one, Continuum Shift Extend, Chrono Phantasma Extend, and then Central Fiction. Those are the 4 BlazBlue games. And like I said before, I could just talk about BlazBlue for fucking ever. It is a wonderful game, so fucking good. And something I actually really want to do next year, and the reason why what I talked about at the very top of the episode was that I wanted to do a series that I think meant a lot to me. Something that I'm noticing that I'm having a kind of a difficult time with lately with the show is that we play a lot of new games, or we'll play games that have been suggested, but I don't really play a lot of games. I used to play games that meant a lot to me personally, like Final Fantasy X or whatever. And sometimes those games work out really well. Sometimes they don't really work out, but just because the nature of the show and having to do it through Discord where you guys can't really hear the audio. So I'm trying to think of a way that I could play a game that I would just really be so into. And I think this is the answer. I actually own all 4 Persona, all 4 BlazBlue games on Steam. They had a sale, must have been a year ago, and I bought them all arbitrarily.
Yeah.
And so I want, at the beginning of the new year, to start it off playing one of my personal favorite games. And I invite you all to join me and explore the story of this incredibly weird story. I should say the incredibly weird story of BlazBlue. Because fighting games always have had some sort of story. It's always been more of a while I would say that there's some stories that are really solid, or some stories that are really extensive, like Mortal Kombat, or some of them that are kind of expanded upon in an arcade, or what they used to be arcades. Obviously Street Fighter V changed that and had their own story mode. BlazBlue's always been really narrative heavy. It's always been about there's always some strange thing. Even Calamity Trigger, the big twist of Calamity Trigger is incredibly interesting. So I invite you guys to join me and Amanda and whoever wants to join that playthrough, and and explore this. Dreki says I wouldn't really count Cross Tag Battle, and I agree with that. Cross Tag Battle is more like a love letter to fighting games of that generation. I don't, and if the story's not canon, then it doesn't count. So I don't know. But Cross Tag Battle is also a really good game, but I feel like I play a lot. Over the last year, I played a lot of Cross Tag Battle, and while that game is really good and a wonderful love letter to some of my favorite fighting games of all time, it's just so odd that all of them were just in the same game. It was like a personal Mitchell Christmas. But playing Central Fiction a lot this week has just reminded me how wonderfully the game is built. And so I'm terrified to go back to Calamity Trigger. But I think that it was so worth it to talk about the story and these characters and kind of what that means. So, like I said, next year I do plan on doing a BlazBlue playthrough, and we're going to go through each of the games. Probably we'll go through Calamity Trigger and then take a break and then do the other ones. Because Continuum Shift and Central Fiction are more organized with how they do their story modes. So thank God we have this also on the PC so that you guys can actually listen into the story as well. So we're not voicing everything over. I'm not sure actually how you guys at home would want to do it, but the English voice acting is very well done. So I'm not entirely sure how we're going to do that. We'll talk more about it at a later date. I'm very excited for this one though. So,
Absolutely. I'm excited too. These characters look fucking rad as shit, man.
oh yeah, dude, BlazBlue, like the designs in BlazBlue are so fucking good. Anyways, yes, that is something that we have planned in the future. I do starting 2021 is going to be a very interesting experience. That being said, thank you so much for listening to another episode of Mitch's Mega Minute. I always love you guys listening into all whatever dumb shit we have to talk about this week. We actually missed the subject. Yes, we did.
What did we not talk about?
I did want to talk a bit about another project that we were kind of talking about here and there. And kind of the problems of planning it, because I'm not entirely sure if I want to do it. And we're talking about we're not. It's not going to take too long, Amanda. Don't worry.
Oh no, I'm not complaining that it'll take a long time. I'm just trying to remember what the subject is.
We've been playing Dungeons and Dragons for a long time.
Oh, that's right. Oh my god. I'm a fucking idiot.
No. We play Dungeons and Dragons every week for the last 2.5 years. For 2.5 years, I have been Amanda, Nate, Nextien's, and Josh's DM. I've been dungeon mastering for a while now. I started, I think, in the winter of 2017, but I've been your guys' specific dungeon master for about 2.5 years now. So something that I've wanted to do for a really long time is I wanted to host my own Dungeons and Dragons show. The problem is that there is a lot that goes into a Dungeons and Dragons show. I wouldn't want to half-ass it. I wouldn't want to do it. I don't think I'd want to do it live either, unless you guys wanted that. So like I don't really know exactly how I'd want to go about it, but I write tons of lore every week. Every week we go through this, and I'm writing as much as I can to make sure that the worlds feel lived in and everything. And I really enjoy the creative process when it comes to Dungeons and Dragons. But one of my biggest problems in trying to come up with a show is, what story do we tell? What's a story that I want to present not only to my players, who have to feel invested in the world that we're about to explore, but also what kind of world would you guys want to listen to? And I think that's kind of my biggest issue with trying to make a Dungeons and Dragons sort of game, because there's so many different possibilities, right? I have this one scenario. We tried making a Dungeons and Dragons show before, but just due to schedule conflicts, we couldn't make it work. That one was called Bronix. It was supposed to be a 1920s styles walled city, where all sorts of wacky hijinks happen. Then there was some of our darker stories. I excel as a dungeon master. I excel more in horror themes, unfortunately. So we had like this one called Under the Veil. And there's also Political Party Starter, in which the party actually just at the very beginning of the campaign just happens to run into the idea that they are now king of a whole kingdom,
Oh god, I love political
So
and like you're a wonderful DM, because I legitimately enjoy a lot of your fucking campaigns.
well, thank you.
You're welcome. Why'd you say it like that?
Well, no, I'm not good at taking compliments, especially when it comes to my own personal writing, and that's another thing. I feel like when it comes to writing, like, what is the next world I want to build? Like, if I were to build a world specifically to show other people, right? Because a lot of these worlds are just intricate works The way I build worlds is a foundation and a bunch of gears, things that must make sense, things that they need to be pieced together, so that if I don't have an immediate answer to something, I can turn the gears a little and be like, all right, so let's kind of see how this works. What is the ruling here? And sometimes it's just chaos theory, in which I'll make a roll and it says, okay, well, if whatever this rule is determines the universal rule from here on out. Like, that's how it has to sometimes be built. So the systems that have to be built when it comes to world building and versus when it comes to just playing personally and then building it for a show, there is a weird pressure that like I get really self-conscious about, because my worlds are very intricate. They have to be. I have to make sure that every little piece and knob works the way it does. Otherwise, I feel like if there's ever a pocket in my worlds, that I didn't do a good job, right? It's like building the foundation to a home. You want to make sure that everything is set before you start building everything else up. And even when you do start building everything else up, it has to all make sure that it's balanced and even. So, anyways, it's not something I really want to talk about too much about.
No, that's fair.
But it is something that I am wanting to do. I'm not sure if even you guys would be interested in listening to a Dungeons and Dragons show with all of us. But I have been doing. I've been a dungeon master for the last 2.5 years. I would argue 3 years. And it has been a wonderful writing experience. It has been a wonderful time. I have had just the best time and have made so many incredibly wonderful friends through this experience. Yeah. So I don't know if that is something in the future that you should be looking out for. But I might make a video, or I might make some things here and there to be like, all right, so what is something you guys would like to hear? Would you like to hear it live? Would you like to, or would you prefer it to just be a video on YouTube? Like that kind of stuff. So something to look out for. It's something that I have been putting a lot of thought into. And yeah. So anyways, guys, thank you all so much for watching another episode of Mitch's Mega Minute. Amanda, do you want to just watch the new episode of My Hero? Not even new. Do you want to watch the fucking All for One episode? Because I'm fucking...
Yes. I was gonna wait until after the stream to be like, hey, you want to watch that? Because I'm actually farther in the anime than you, but I'm not caught up. I'm nowhere near caught up. I went through season 2, started season 3, got about an episode and a half into it, and then dropped off.
Thank you all so much for watching another episode of Mitch's Mega Minute. And I will catch you all next week for more weird conversation topics. If you guys have anything you'd like for us to talk about, I'm going to add right after the stream today, I'm going to add a podcast topics section in the Save Point server. And if you guys have anything that you want us to talk about, we can then go into there. And if you have nothing that you want us to talk about, don't put anything in there. And we'll just talk about whatever we usually do every week. Yeah. All right. We'll catch you all for episode... Oh my God. Is this episode 79 or is next episode 80? I have no idea. I don't know. I have such bad I have such bad tracking when it comes to these episodes. Next episode is episode... next episode's going to be episode 80. 80 Mitch's minutes. That's so weird. Anyways.
Isn't it?
Yeah, 20 more and we'll have 100. So,
fuck.
Anyways, thank you all so much. We'll catch you all next time.
Catch you next time.
Who knows? Maybe I'll have an intro next time. Who knows?
Only time will tell.